Hi there, welcome to Fire Mountain Gems and Beads Jewelry Making Studio. I'm Christi Friesen, and today, won't you join me and make a little nesting bird focal bead? Want to see how cute it is? Look at this. Isn't that adorable? This is just a cute little bird, and it actually is a focal bead. It's got a hole through it, so you can string it up in a necklace and wear it. Isn't that fun? It's very simple to make. It's made out of polymer clay and just a few beaded elements. You want to see what you're going to need? You're going to need polymer clay. There's a lot of polymer clay out there. It's all lovely, but you need to make sure that you've got some in nest colors, which are browns and tans and that sort of thing, and something in sort of a white color for your bird. You can make actually any color bird you like, but for this particular one, we're going to use white and add a little bit of mica powder for the coloring. You'll also need some egg beads. I picked something in a light blue because that seemed very eggy to me. Round is fine. Anything that you use for a bead for this egg, make sure that it's glass or ceramic or crystal, not plastic, because it's got to go into the oven and you don't want those eggs to melt, unless you're into Salvador Dali look. You'll also need just a little bit of 28 gauge wire. It's a very thin wire, and that's going to help hold the bead eggs in place, as well as a bead for the eye, which is going to be a little teeny round garnet or other 3 or 4 millimeter round dark bead. I used a garnet because they make fantastic eyes. That one's got a little wire on it already. I'll show you how to do that shortly. So far as tools, needle tool comes in very handy. And any other sculpting tool that's got a bit of a dowely point at the end could be very useful for this project. Wire cutters and pliers. If you don't have a really nice pair of wire cutter and pliers, I suggest you get that whenever you can. It makes beading projects so much nicer when you're not struggling with your tools. And finally, I use just a little bit of mica powder to add color to the beak. So if you've got some of that, it's going to make that a lot easier. A little paintbrush will apply. Okay, so you've gathered up all your goodies. Are you ready to make a happy little bird in a nest? Let's do. So the very first thing I did is I took a couple different colors of clay and I mixed them together to make the kind of a nesty color. You see what we've got here? Some browns, there's probably a little bit of gold and stuff in there. You just kind of mix and twist with your hands. This warms the clay up as well as making streaks in it, which is just what you want. You only need a little ball, about the size of, what would you say that is? A little teeny cherry tomato, just a small bit, and you form it into a circle. Then you're going to stick your thumb in it. Remember the days when you made a pinch pot in school and you stuck your thumb in there and you made ashtrays for all your relatives that didn't smoke? Well, that's what you're doing again, but very small. So stick your thumb in and see I'm kind of turning it around and pinching it until you have a nice little bowl. This is going to be your nest. Only one side is going to show because I'm going to flatten it so that you have just a profile for the bird. So once you've made it, find the prettiest side, the one that has the most color on it, and to that we're going to add a whole bunch of little teeny bits of clay. All I've done is take some clay and roll it out into a teeny little snake. A lot of different colors. Our egg wants to join the picture. Stay. And we'll just start popping them on the front half. See how that goes? And the clay is pretty nice. Polymer clay sticks to itself, so as long as you're smashing those pieces on just a little bit firmly, they're going to grab. Now don't forget you're going to want to put a bit of those little sticks on the inside coming out because you're going to see that, and you want to have that look nice and natural too. All right, see what we're doing there? Doesn't that look nice and twiggy already? That's the part that's going to be seen. Doesn't that look good? All right, I'm going to press that down. Take a look at that. That looks pretty acceptable. Now, since this bead is wanting to wander, let's get it to stay put by putting a little bit of wire on it. And the wire is going to help attach that bead into the clay. Things like beads and wire, they don't stick naturally into polymer. Once polymer is baked, those things could pop off. That's why I'm using a little twisted wire tail to help this bead stay on. And the tail will have a hook on it because wire doesn't stay in there either, but the little hook will grab right in. So 28 gauge wire, about 1 inch or 2, stick my bead on there, and I'm going to hold the wire with pliers and twist with my fingers. Twist, 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 twist. Just twirl that right up to the head of the bead until it's nice and firm. If you've had your Wheaties and you don't go too hard and you break it off, just pull another piece of wire on there and start again. And then we're going to trim the end off and fold the tip over into a little hook. Can you see that? So I've got a little twist of wire and I've got a nice little hook there to hold it in. Now when you put these beads in, You want to put them in so that you really don't see much of that wire, and you want to put them in at the lip of the nest. You see what I've done there? You don't want it to be far back in the middle of the nest because the bird's going to be on top of the nest there and you won't get to see it. I wired up some of these other little beads when you weren't looking. And I'm press it in. See how that looks right there? Now I've pushed that wire out, but luckily I have another little nesting twig I can put right over the top so I don't have to reposition. And we'll put one more. 3 eggs is always better than 2. And just press that in and hold it tight. Do your best to minimize any of the wire being seen. All right, so I'm going to hold it just like this. So you get the idea now. We've got that nest. We've got those little eggs clustered around the rim. Now let's make the mama bird. Mama bird starts off with just a little ball of white or whatever color clay you like. And obviously you're going to roll it nice and smooth. As you roll it, you can see if there's any cat hairs you've got to pull out or any creases you've got to fix. Once it's smooth, then you're just going to push it a little bit with your hands on a bit of a wedge so that it turns into kind of an egg shape. Not quite a teardrop, but a bit of an egg. That's going to be his tail part right there, or her tail part. And we're going to pull the head out of the other end. Now this big chesty area, I'm going to just keep pulling, and that little head is going to come popping out of there. You see what we've got? If it looks like an elf shoe, you're doing it correctly. Keep going. And if you can pinch just a little where the neck is so that it's got a little bit more of an indentation between the head and the neck. So see what we've got so far? You can see that bird head is lurking in there. There's a little bird chest. And to make this look like a nice little bird tail, we're going to give it a squeeze. There we are. See, isn't that cute? There's a little bird tail sticking right off of there. And give you a little bit of profile. We're going to grab the beaky area. Pinch, pinch. Now you notice I'm pinching my fingers this way and this way, back and forth, and that gives me a cute little beak. If the beak gets too big, then you end up having a penguin or something in there, which may not be what you want in your little nest. So keep that beak small. You can always give it a nose job if that clay gets out of hand. Pinch, pinch, pinch. There's his little tail. So this is our lovely little bird profile. Doesn't that look cute so far? Now all we're going to do is add a little eyeball. That's where that dowel tool comes in handy. I can just poke a little hole that shows me where that bead needs to be and then drop that bead right in. I already wired this one up and pressed it in nice and deep there. Now you've got your cute little eyeball for the bird. To give it a beak, we're going to use our mica powder. That's a nice way of getting some color on there without a lot of effort. So all I'm doing is just brushing a bit of golden or copper colored mica. Mica is just a tinted powder, somewhat like eyeshadow. And doesn't that look good? There's his little eye. Now I'm going to sit her in the nest first and then add the the wing. So pressing it in there. You want to give it a good push so she really shoves in there nicely. And now we can give her her wing. Wing is just a little ball of clay made into a teardrop and flattened. Use your fingers, good and strong. Fingerprints are no problem. If that wing is too big, you can pinch some off and adjust. You don't really know till you get there how big her wing is going to be. Now we've got that teardrop again, and perfect, right like that. Doesn't that look cute? Now, if you like, you can also give her a little bit of coloration, because maybe she wants to be a bit of a blue bird. So I'm going to take some blue mica powder and just dust it right down along the head and down the back. Mica powder can get a little bit messy, so you can blow away the excess. Just don't blow it in other people's faces. They hate that. And we'll put just a little bit on the wing too. What do you think? Gives her a little bit of color. Now we have to do something a little bit dramatic to this bird to make her be able to be worn as a focal bead, but I've anesthetized this so it won't hurt a bit. I'm just going to poke this needle tool right through her chest, and right out the back, right above the tail. That's usually the best way of hanging, so you can see where your string would go, right like that. And it's also really not that noticeable. Once you string it up as a necklace, that goes right there. Now, of course, if you don't want to make that into a pendant, you can have your little bird just as a fun little sculptural bit. And you can just stand up without a nest, and that works out. Knit, but it's going to have to get hardened before you can wear it. Polymer clay does not air dry. It's an oven curing clay. And you can use your own home oven for that. It's very simple. Just follow the instructions on the clay manufacturer's packaging. It'll tell you exactly how hot to bake it and for how long. But generally speaking, you just preheat your oven, put Put your piece in for about a half an hour or so, let it cool completely, and then it's ready to go. You can string it right up and wear it and enjoy it, and let all your friends enjoy it because they'll probably want some too once they see what a wonderful job you've made. And isn't it convenient that not only the clays and the tools that we use to make that bird, but also those little egg beads and eye beads, all of that stuff. They're all available right here at Fire Mountain Gems.